Hi, welcome back to Being the Best Version of Yourself. I'm your host, Dr. Carey Heller. Today we're going to talk about the idea of positive self-talk. Positive self-talk is the idea of having a simple motto, something that you can say to pump yourself up if you feel like you're starting to feel down about something, feeling anxious, or just want to feel even better in the moment. It can also, in a lot of cases, help reduce anxiety or other negative feelings from sometimes forming or becoming as significant in the first place. So let's use an example of a situation. Let's say you're walking into a new social situation. The question then becomes, why do you feel nervous? So are you worried that you're not going to have anything to say? Are you worried that you might say something that would make others perceive you as not being very intelligent? Whatever the issue is, if you can identify it, then you can start determining how do you create a simple motto or positive self-talk that you can use to help yourself cope effectively and thrive in that given situation. So let's say you identify that you're anxious because you get nervous when you're around a lot of people. You often get worried about not panicking and not being able to make small talk, and so that makes you nervous because you feel like you're going to stand there mumbling or just not really knowing what to say, and that itself can be very uncomfortable. So in this work situation, now that you've identified some reasons why you feel worried or uncomfortable about being able to do well, let's think about a couple simple mottos or positive self-talk you could use to help yourself. So one example might be, I am capable of socializing well. It's simple, it's to the point, it's something you could probably remember to repeat through your mind in the moment. Another possible one might be, I'm interesting to talk with. So just, something very simple that you can kind of run through your head to kind of pep yourself up. It's kind of like in a sports situation with a coach, giving a team a pep talk before they go on the field, to really help them to, bolster sort of all their energy and their confidence. And again, the confidence is crucial in terms of making things better. And positive self-talk is a great way to build confidence. Another way is to think about prior situations. So if you've had lots of situations like this and you've done fine before, reminding yourself of that. So something simple along the lines of, I've been in situations like this before and I have done well. Just something simple to the point can be a great way to remind yourself if you're in a situation where even though you've done this a million times before and it's been fine, you don't really have the confidence from that. I mean, theoretically, this is a little less positive, but even you could think about in some cases, something along the lines of the worst case scenario is not that bad. So in some situations, even if, let's say, you walk, you slip and fall, maybe it's a little embarrassing, but chances are people are not going to focus on it 10 minutes later, depending on the circumstances. That sometimes for some people, thinking about the worst case scenario and not actually being that bad in itself can help people feel more comfortable. Not always the best way to approach it because it's a little bit negative, but that is obviously another way of approaching this too. So now that I've given you guys an example, let's see if you can come up with one yourself. Think about a specific situation that makes you nervous, uncomfortable, that you lack confidence in, whether it's a work situation, something you go into lots of times and it's been fine, or something that you've had trouble with. Maybe it's a social situation. Maybe it's even having a discussion with your partner about something that can be stressful, like deciding something about parenting, or where you're going to go on vacation, or whatever it is. Identify a situation. Keep that in your mind. Okay, so I hope that by now you have a situation in your mind to practice with. If you don't, that's okay. You can still free to listen. So now that you have the situation, you can do this keeping it in your mind. You can try writing this down, but list out a couple of reasons of why you're worried about this particular situation. So maybe it hasn't gone well in the past. Maybe you have some sort of insecurity that relates to this situation, how that might come about. Whatever it is, list 3 or 4 reasons why you have a concern about whatever the situation is that we're talking about as an example. Now, for the last part of this exercise, I would like you to write out, or I guess you can keep it in your mind if you prefer, pick 3 or 4 simple mottos that you could use to bolster your confidence in whatever situation you picked. So something along the lines of you're capable in whatever it is, or you sort of have very good qualities that make you a good fit for whatever the situation is. Obviously, you could approach the slightly less positive version of this. What's the worst case scenario of what could happen? So whatever it is, pick a couple key mottos and then write those down ideally. Okay, so hopefully at this point you've developed a couple of quick positive self-talk phrases or motto that you can easily remember. One of the things that can be helpful too is, maybe on your phone, in a notes app, for example, maybe make a list of this situation and these models you've come up with. Because sometimes in the moment, it can be hard to remember this stuff, even if it seems fresh in your mind now or seems really simple. So if you keep it in your phone or somewhere else that makes sense and refer back to it right before going into that situation, it'll refresh your memory of it, and in turn can also help build your confidence. And some people find that having it written out, like being able to actually visualize it, not just pull it from your mind, in of itself can make it feel better and feel even more real. And another thing to be able to do is right before you go into that situation, run through the situation in your mind and practice repeating the motto or the phrases a couple of times. I am capable of socializing well. I'm interesting to talk with, or whatever it is that you've come up with for yourself for your situation. And try this next time you go in a situation where you feel like, oh, I can't do this, or whatever, insert the negative thing that pops into your mind. Alright, so we're at the point to wrap up for today. I hope that this has been helpful in getting you thinking about how you can use positive self-talk in your life. It's really not that complicated of a concept. It's the idea of you identify what's bothering you about a situation. Why are you nervous? Why are you anxious? What could go wrong? What's making you not confident? Then, from there, you identify why those potential things could be occurring. And then the third step is you create a simple motto or a couple phrases you can use to bolster your confidence in a situation, so you can walk into that situation feeling confident, relaxed, feeling very capable that you're going to do well and execute whatever it is that you have to do in that moment. So develop a motto, keep it simple, and keep reminding yourself of it before you go into the situation. And if you panic in that situation, remind yourself of it during the situation. And I hope this is useful in allowing you to go feel more confident as you go into different situations that you encounter. Until next time, this is Dr. Kerry Heller.